Hey everyone, and welcome to another Star Wars Month video. Today, I'm going to be talking about Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Now, this was set 10 years after the events of The Phantom Menace. Padme is no longer Queen of Naboo, and now she's Senator of Naboo. She's a senator now. And Obi-Wan has been training Anakin for quite some time. Padme has also had several assassination attempts on her life because she is actually the opposition to the Military Creation Act, which is what the Senate is voting over to create a Grand Army of the Republic. Because former Jedi Count Dooku has formed a confederacy of independent systems, so sort of rebelling against the Galactic Republic. They're just separatists. It's a separatist alliance. So the Jedi Council assigns Obi-Wan and Anakin to protect Padme, and they do encounter the assassin, someone called Zam Wesell, and she reveals that she was working for someone, but before she could say who she was working for, her employer kills her with some sort of toxic dart. So while Obi-Wan tracks down this bounty hunter, Anakin escorts Padme back to Naboo. Obi-Wan eventually tracks down the saber dart's origin to the planet Kamino, where he finds out that the native Kaminoans had been creating a clone army by the command of a Jedi called Sifo Dyas, who was actually killed almost 10 years ago. And Obi-Wan actually meets the bounty hunter behind the assassination attempts, Jango Fett, who claims he was hired to create the army by a man called Tyrannus. Meanwhile, on Naboo, Anakin and Padme Anakin is spending his time safeguarding Padme, and Padme is just sharing some childhood experiences with him. And slowly but surely, they start to fall in love, which, if you're a Jedi, is something you do not want to do. Because, according to the Jedi Code, no Jedi can make any emotional attachment. They can't love, unconditional love, as Anakin puts it. They can't pursue a romantic relationship. They can't marry. They can't have children. Any of those breaches would result in an expulsion from the Order. And there's also the fact that Padme was committed to the Senate. So while that's happening, Obi-Wan actually has a battle with Jango. He and his son Boba escape, and Obi-Wan tracks them to the planet Geonosis, where it's revealed that Dooku and the Separatists are building a massive droid army, like the same one that the Trade Federation used. And as if that wasn't enough, the Viceroy of the Trade Federation, Nute Gunray, has joined the Separatist Alliance, alongside the likes of San Hill from the Banking Clan, Poggle the Lesser of the Geonosians, and Wat Tambor of the Techno Union. Got a massive, massive alliance, and Obi-Wan is soon captured after he relays the message to the Council, and is there interrogated by Dooku. Meanwhile, prior to that, Anakin actually has nightmares about his mother being in pain, so he and Padme travel to Tatooine, where it's revealed that his former slave owner, Watto, sold Shmi to a farmer called Klieg Lars, and the two of them actually ended up marrying. But eventually, Shmi was taken by Tusken Raiders. Anakin then went off to find her, and he eventually did find her, really beaten and tied up. Anakin was delighted to have saved his mother, but unfortunately he arrived too late, as his mother died in his arms. This was also Anakin's first major step towards the dark side of the Force, as he basically slaughters every single Tusken in the camp. Not just the men, but the women and the children too. Honestly, that is one of Anakin's most brutal scenes in any Star Wars movie. Sorry. But after that whole ordeal, Anakin and Padme travel to Geonosis to save Obi-Wan. Unfortunately, they are captured as well, and they're taken to the Petranaki Arena, where they are to be executed before a large audience. Padme actually confesses to Anakin before they enter the arena that she really loves him, and seeing as they're about to be killed and their lives are going to be destroyed, there was no point denying their love anymore. So they bring in these massive, massive beasts. A horned, four-legged beast called a Reek, a massive, like, a monster with bladed legs called an Acklay, and a ferocious cat tiger-like creature called a Nexu. And the three of them managed to fight them off. They managed to fight off the monsters, but Dooku is impatient and he sends in battle droids to set them off. But thankfully, Mace Windu arrives with a strike force of 200 Jedi to save them. And this is actually the first time in the Star Wars universe where we get to see Mace Windu's purple lightsaber for the first time. Honestly, it's such a cool lightsaber. I even have a toy replica of Mace Windu's lightsaber somewhere in the cupboards I'm looking at right now. Anywho, and so the Jedi enter the arena against all those battle droids, and just when it seems like all hope is going to be lost, they're saved by the new clone army. And soon the first battle of Geonosis begins, and it all kicks off the Clone Wars. Obi-Wan and Anakin then trail Dooku and have this big battle with him. Unfortunately, Obi-Wan is easily defeated, and Anakin has his arm severed, which is honestly brutal. But then Master Yoda arrives and confronts his former Padawan in a battle. They're proved to be equally matched in the Force, but Yoda proves to be the more skilled lightsaber combatant, and this is also the first time we get to see Yoda in a lightsaber combat. And he was just defied all expectations, just flipping about all over the place, just jumping around despite his age. He eventually makes Dooku realize that Yoda isn't going to go down easily, and if Dooku keeps the fight any longer, he is going to be defeated. So Dooku then makes a pillar fall to crush Anakin and Obi-Wan, and so Yoda saves them while Dooku escapes. And Obi-Wan then tells Mace Windu and Yoda that Dooku told him that the Senate was now under the control of a Sith Lord called Darth Sidious, who is of course Chancellor Palpatine, and Palpatine was given emergency powers by the Senate in order to commission the Grand Army. And so this movie, it does a really good job of setting up the beginning of the Clone Wars. And of course, if you guys have seen the Clone Wars TV series, then you know it did a good job, because that series is fantastic. And the movie ends with Anakin and Padme marrying in secret, which, to be completely honest, I don't think any of us could have seen not happening, given how the two really loved each other. And to be completely honest, they are actually a pretty good couple in my eyes. So, Episode 2. It's not the best Star Wars film by any means, but it's certainly a great one. It's not the best, but it's really great. Of course, we've got Ewan McGregor and Natalie Portman back as Obi-Wan and Padme, and we've got new actor Hayden Christensen in as an older Anakin. For some reason, lots of people hated Hayden Christensen acting, but now many people seem to genuinely care about him and love his acting, and they just love the character of Anakin. I think that's because the Clone Wars helped to sympathise with him, I think. But yeah, it's still pretty good. And we've got the late, great Christopher Lee, who did a great job as Count Dooku. But yeah, if you guys want a good Star Wars film that sets up an amazing TV series, then go see Attack of the Clones. It's on Disney Plus right now. All the Star Wars movies are on Disney Plus right now, so you can check them out. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. See you next time on Star Wars Month.